What's up, everyone? It's Justin from Long Beach Mushrooms. Long time no see. I told myself I would make one video a week when I started this, and obviously I have not been keeping up with my word on that one, but we're making a video today. I want to let you know a little bit of what I've been up to. So we are actually 1 year. Well, let's start with this. We're actually expanding. So if some of y'all have been following us, we actually have our grow room is 5 minutes on the other side of the town, which is not a big deal. We drive our bags over, we open them up over there, it's no problem. But we had a great opportunity come up, and the building next to us on the other side of that wall actually came up for lease. And we are just about to sign that lease. We agreed to terms and all that already. We just have to put pen to paper and we're all good, and we should be doing that in the next day or two. What's gonna happen next door, and I'll give you guys a quick peek from the garage. They're doing work on it right now, but just a quick peek in. It is going to be, it's a 2,400 square foot building. We are going to use about 1,000 square feet of the floor layout to build grow rooms. We also have a second floor mezzanine, which we'll do some fun things with. And then we even have a lot of office space in the front that we'll do some things with. But what I'm really looking forward to is having both locations in the same place. We don't have the headache of driving bags back and forth. We can streamline our processes big time. I can finally, our incubation can, we can get away from using those old lock bolt shelves, and we can get everything on casters. How it's gonna look is, you know, from our bagger to our pasteurizer, onto shelves, into our lab, inoculate, roll that into incubation, let them sit on those shelves for 10 days or however long it takes to incubate, and then we can roll those incubation or colonized bags on the racks, roll them out of the room. I'm gonna get all this substrate off our floor plan. So there's gonna be a pass-through door. We'll roll them through the pass-through door, roll them straight into our grow rooms, and then cut the bags open and roll them in there. And then we'll also, once they're ready to harvest, we'll roll them out of our grow room, roll them to our post-production area, harvest everything, clean up all the bags, all of that. And then either roll them back in for a second flush or roll them to the back and toss them. So everything will be on wheels, which has been my dream from the start. Grow tents are great, a great way to get started, but man, once you, like, the labor just adds up over time. Like, just, I don't mind doing labor, but I do mind doing labor that's inefficient, and that eats at me. So now we can lessen a lot of our man hours, labor, or we can streamline our labor. We can grow more with the new space. We can streamline our labor. You know, we'll be growing probably 3x what we're growing now. I'm also excited to have a lot of space to run classes. That's one of my passions, is to educate other mushroom farmers or other people that want to be mushroom farmers. So we'll have a lot of space to do that. And yeah, everything's just another big dream I've had is to do a morning circle up with our team every morning, just to do a check-in, see how everybody's doing, get it on the same page, sync up, and then go to work. And we haven't really done that effectively because half the team's always at the production site and then half the team's at the grow room. So now we get to all meet at one site, and I'm super stoked about it. That's the quick update. What this video is really about, though, is it is a little bit over my 1 year anniversary of going full-time as a mushroom farmer. So I kind of wanted to check in and let y'all know the reality of it. What's the good, what's the bad, what's the ugly, how has it been? Was it worth it to quit my job and become a mushroom farmer? So we're gonna roll right into that. All right, so let's roll into it first with how I became a full-time mushroom farmer, what my background is. So I was actually an assistant principal at a high school. I was an English teacher first and then became an assistant principal at a high school. I did that job for 5 years, I forget now. But it was a great job, a very fulfilling job. I felt like I was doing great work. I loved a lot of the people that I worked with. You know, it gave my family financial security. It was a well-paying job. And, you know, I started this mushroom farm as a side project, as just something to do for fun, as a passion project. And then, you know, at the same time, I also had a son. So he was, you know, less than a year old when this business got started. And all the things collided at once. So I was working long hours as an assistant principal because it's a demanding job and there's things that we have to do. And it was during COVID, which made it extra stressful. I started this mushroom farm and it started to pick up a lot of traction. People in our neighborhood, our community started hearing about us, chefs started hearing about us, and it just got really exciting. And then I also had my son. All these three things collided at a head at one point, and I realized I had to choose because I was stretching myself too thin. How my day was looking is I would work, you know, my 8-hour shift at the school, come home for like 30 minutes, eat something, change clothes, and then I'd go to the farm and work for like 4 to 5 hours. I was seeing my son for maybe 30 minutes a day, my wife and son for like 30 minutes a day, and things just had to change, and I had to make a choice. And what it ultimately came down to was like, I love my job as an assistant principal, but I did see like the box that I was going to be kept in for my full career there. What I mean by that, and I don't mean this in negative terms at all, this is more of like, it's not the job, it's just, it wasn't the specific job that I'm talking about, it's just a job that I'm talking about. So with that assistant principal job, I knew what my title was, I knew what my sphere of influence was, and I also saw that I'm not gonna do much more beyond that in the role that I was in. And I felt the walls caving in on me a little bit. On the mushroom side, I found a purpose that I really believed in. I found a love for ownership of a small business and ownership of time and ownership of my life. You know, and some of those things were attractive to me. I liked that there was seemingly no ceiling to this job. Like I could make it whatever I want to make it. I could become whoever I wanted to become within this business. That played a role. Of course, not seeing my son a lot played a role. And what ultimately happened was, you know, it was a family decision for me to see where this mushroom farm was going. We said worst case scenario, I can always go back and get a job. But the window of opportunity for mushroom farming, I saw that it could have passed us by if we didn't take advantage of it. Of course, I have, you know, a wife that is super supportive. She is in this business with me. She does a lot of the sales, does a lot of the marketing, and we're always syncing up when we make the business decisions. But she was like, you have to do this. A lot of people were like saying you have to do this, but ultimately I looked inward and was introspective, and I was also like, yeah, I have to do this. Like, for me to become the person I want to be, I have to do this. I have to take this risk and I have to give this a shot. If it failed, that's one thing, but I couldn't live with myself without giving this a legitimate shot. So now here we are 1 year in, yeah, we're gonna talk through the ugly first. I'm gonna move a little bit because there's noises out there. Okay, let's go here. So we'll start with the ugly. So the ugly part of mushroom farming was, for the first 6 months that I went full time, I actually brought in $0 to my family. That was definitely not the plan. We sat back and we saw the projections. I looked at the projections, like, wow, if we continued on this curve, we do really well and I could pay myself and the bills would get paid for and we'll be straight, we'll be all right. What I didn't take into account as a first year mushroom farmer was how hard it was going to be to grow mushrooms through the summer. Now, I grew mushrooms through the summer in my garage. I used a little portable AC unit to incubate my bags, nothing fancy at all, and we grew mushrooms fine. And I was like, well, you know, we can figure it out. We can figure it out with the same kind of vein by just patching things together and seeing what worked. Well, that didn't work. We hit high contamination rates because of the summer. We were probably throwing away 50% or more of our bags that we were making. It really sucked. It got so bad that we had to lay people off or cut hours back really far of our employees. Some of our employees had to leave us because we weren't able to give them enough hours for them to, you know, live their lifestyle. It got to the point where I was seriously contemplating shutting our doors down and just going back and getting a job. because I was, you know, essentially if things kept going the way that they were going, like this business was gonna fold. There wasn't enough capital to keep it floating. We had burned through our nest egg, our savings for our living expenses and, you know, what we put into the business. And things weren't looking great. Even though on the outside they were looking great, like everybody thought we were doing great because we were making sales and restaurants were picking us up and our name was out there. But internally on the business side, things were not looking good. So for 6 months, I went through that extreme stress of like becoming, like being a provider, giving my family financial security, to don't know where the next dollar is coming. Actually, I don't know. I don't have any dollars. Like none of the dollars are coming in. And you know, we had to give a lot of bad news to employees. We had to give a lot of bad news to partners that worked with us because we couldn't provide the mushrooms that they needed for their menu. So a lot of things went bad. But obviously we're still here. So let's move on to the good. The good news is once things cooled down, mushroom growing became a thing again and everything was fine. So things were bad for a while, and then once November rolled around in Southern California, things cooled down, and then we were able to grow mushrooms again and pick up. And you know, we had, I think our record harvest for a week was 900 pounds, which is pretty big considering we only have about 350 square feet of grow space total. So we were able to grow 900 pounds in a week. We've been averaging 550 pounds a week. We've picked up 10 plus restaurants. We're in 5 plus farmers markets. We learned our lesson. Behind this wall is actually our incubation room. So it is insulated, it has air conditioning. We are not gonna make that mistake again. I might even add an extra mini split in here just to keep temperatures really, really solid where I want them to be. But we learned that lesson of, you know, temperature control. The good news is I was able to start paying myself, not a big salary, but enough to keep us afloat and pay the bills. We definitely cut our lifestyle down significantly. Like, I don't spend any money on myself anymore. I might think twice if there's a pair of pants on sale at Costco. I might look at them and I might buy them. But other than that, I'm not spending money on myself. We've cut our lifestyle down. We don't go on the big fancy vacations anymore. We own our time. We make use of that time and we keep it simple. The good news is we also are back to 7 employees again, so that's great. I'm on the verge of promoting 2 of them to management positions. Those positions are created. We are just gonna move them into it. And then of course, you know, we've been doing so well. We've been doing well enough that we can expand our grow room next door. Now, don't get me wrong, money is still tight. It's not like we're rolling in it. We do have to take out loans. We are getting our build out next door. Like, we got to go through and get financing for it. It's not like we have all the cash flow to pay for it. But we feel good about this next step, this next expansion, and what it's going to mean for our business. Well, my family, my employees, our business, our community, and really essentially at the end of the line, like really pushing forward the mission of growing food where it's eaten. Yeah, so that's the good stuff. Yeah, I drew a blank a little bit. So the last part of this is going to be just an overall recap of like lessons learned. A big one is infrastructure is very important with growing mushrooms. If you're planning on growing for the full season, well, going for the full year, you're gonna have to go through and put the infrastructure up so that you can ensure that you are able to grow through all the seasons. Essentially what that looks like for us in Southern California is that our temperature control needs to be on point and steady. So I learned that really scared money doesn't make money. So we need to put money into the business so that we can grow it, so that we can grow it and forward our mission. I learned that, my family, my wife especially, is very resilient and very supportive. She sees the bigger picture, and she's taught me how to see it. What we're doing here is more than just a job. We're really becoming the people that we want to be, and that's having full ownership over our lives, over our time, how we interact with our community, how we interact with our employees. We're fully owning it, and I'm a believer that everything, like the most important thing for me to do is become the business person that I've always wanted to be, the farmer that I've always wanted to be, and then everything will take care of itself. So I'm not worried necessarily about the dollars or the pennies. I'm more focused on growing this farm the right way, growing the mushrooms the right way, selling them the right way so that we don't have food loss, a lot of food waste. And then also being really intentional about how we serve our community and how we serve our partners. I also learned that our employees are really resilient and that we've created, they've told us we've created a place that they really love to be at and they really see purpose in being at. So even our employee that had to leave us when we were cutting hours, she's come back to us now. She's told me multiple times how grateful she is that a place like Long Beach Mushrooms exists and this job exists. So I learned that our employees are resilient. I've learned that letting go of employees is healthy. When I had two of my best employees leave us, and they both left us to start their own businesses, which was so cool to me. One of our measures of success is, are we creating more entrepreneurs? And I can thoroughly check that box off this year and say, yes, we did. We created at least 2 entrepreneurs, which I'm excited to continue collaborating with them down the road. Even though they're not growing mushrooms anymore, they're doing other stuff, we will still collaborate and we will still support each other. And I'm really, really happy for them and excited to see what they do and see how we can work together still. And then the final question is, was this all worth it? In the short, if you're talking about just dollars and cents, it was not worth it. If you are going into this and you don't have any other ways to pay the bills, you can still do it. It's going to be very, very stressful. It's hard to make money. Opening any business is hard to make money right away. I was told, you're looking at 3 to 5 years of loss before you start turning a profit. With mushroom farming, because of the timing of when we got into the market and all of that, and how we've been working our brand and our farm, we will turn a profit in our second year, which is great. It's not going to be a lot. Don't get me wrong, it's not a lot at all, but we will turn a profit, which is awesome. So financially, if you're just talking about dollars and cents, it's not worth it. It's a lot of work, a lot of stress, a lot of things can go wrong, and you are not going to be rich right away doing this. On the flip side, though, in the long, this is totally worth it. I freaking love my job. I love coming into the farm every day. I love managing people. I love creating a business where people can grow and become the people they really want to be. Something that we say here is to all of our employees is to treat this business as an incubator, treat it as a place for you to practice all the skills that you want moving forward in your life. And take your risks here take your risks here. So I love that. And the biggest thing for me is I love the ability to say that we have unlimited growth, unlimited potential in this business. I don't have a salary cap that I'll hit and then I can't make more than that. I don't have the limited number of positions, I have to get promoted to do this or that. Everything here is fair game. And we could be, we're growing mushrooms today. I could easily, tomorrow, if the market dictates, I can pivot tomorrow and move from growing fresh mushrooms to only doing dried, or move from doing dried to only doing educational classes. This place can be anything that we want it to be. And by I say we, I mean, Long Beach Mushrooms, but also the community that it serves. There's just endless potential. And to me, that is worth more than any, 6-figure salary that I had before, because I can actually envision this place being worth more than that. Whether the dollars match it, I don't really care. As long as, I want my bills to get paid. I want us to have some financial security. These are personal goals. Financial security with our family. I want my wife to be able to not work full time anymore. She wants to be home with the kids more. She also wants to start her own business. So I want us to have the financial freedom to do that. And then after that, everything's just cherry on top. So I can see that happening here. Whereas even though I loved my job before, those things weren't going to happen at my old job. So in short, was quitting a 6-figure job to become a full-time mushroom farmer worth it? And I'm gonna say yes, with a tiny bit of discrepancy, and that's if you really freaking love this and you really, really believe in the purpose and the mission of growing mushrooms and starting a small business and what that means and what that can do for the people around you, then yes, it's totally worth it. If you're looking at it from a lens of just, financials, then I'm gonna say no, go do something else. But yeah, I hope that kind of recaps my year. It's been a roller coaster ride of ups and downs, but it's been great. I mean, a great measure of success, a couple measures of success besides the dollar amount that we've been leaning on as a mushroom farm is, are the people that are coming to us, are we leaving them better than we found them? What that means is when people come to our business, are they leaving more empowered? Or are they becoming more empowered within the business? Or when they leave us, are they more empowered to become the person that they want to be? And then the second, which is kind of the same, is what is the quality of our relationships that we're building within this business? That goes from customers to restaurant partners to everybody who touches this business. Are we building higher quality relationships, because or through this business? And I can definitely say yes to that. So I have a smile on my face today because today is a great day. And I've been blessed to do this for a little bit over a year now. But if small business, if you take a snapshot of me on any given day, there's probably 30% of the time I'm smiling, 30% of the time I'm confused, and 30% of the time I'm probably angry. And then the leftover 10% are, I don't know. I'm bad at math. Anyways, this is Justin from Long Beach Mushrooms. I'm signing out. If y'all have any ideas of what you want to see of our farm, I'm definitely going to be filming our build out as we do that. But if you have any questions, any comments, anything that you want to see from us, let me know in the comments below, and I'll make sure I get those to you. But yeah, thanks for watching, y'all. Peace.